What is up, everybody? My name is Chris Peterson. I'm bringing you a deck tech on Blue-Red Scissors or Blue-Red Ensoul Artifact. This deck was a lot of fun today. I played a league with it. I went 4-1. It was an amazing final game, which you'll be able to watch the game 3 later. I wanted to just bring you a deck tech. This deck is really interesting, intricate, and it is a fine-tuned machine that I highly recommend to anyone, new or old to the format, that is looking to break into the format. The deck's pretty cheap, so I highly recommend it. So to just walk through the deck, walk through some of the cards, maybe you have some questions, feel free to put them in the comments. Give me a subscribe if you really enjoy these videos. Give me a like, whatever you'd like to. Feel free to drop that on the channel. All right, but first let's walk through the deck. All right, so maybe the most important card for the deck is this Ensoul Artifact. As you can see, Ensoul Artifact. Enchanted Artifact is a creature with base, power, and toughness 5/5 in addition to its other types. So the main idea is you slap this on a creature, artifact creature, or artifact, it doesn't need to be a creature, and you make it into a 5/5. You add 5/5. So for instance, if you slap it on a Stone Coil Serpent, for instance, Stone Coil Serpent, let's say you cast a Stone Coil Serpent, another good creature, X, 0/0, reach, trample, protection for multicolored. It enters the battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. If you slap this on a Stone Coil Serpent that you cast for 3, it is now an 8/8 reach, trample, protection for multicolored permanent. It's very good. So another thing you can do is you can slap it on something like a Darksteel Citadel. You can attack with your lands. You can cast it on a Ghostfire Blade. You can make your Ghostfire Blade into a 5/5 if it's no longer on a creature. You can make a Phyrexian Revoker a 5/5. You can put it on a Hope of Ghirapur. Hope of Ghirapur is an interesting card. It has some intricate play against control decks, where you put it into play. It says sacrifice Hope of Ghirapur until your next turn. Target player who was dealt combat damage by Hope of Ghirapur this turn can't cast non-creature spells. So the idea behind this card is, let's say you're playing against control, blue-white control. You cast this card, you deal damage with it eventually, and let's say you're thinking they might have a Supreme Verdict. You sacrifice Hope of Ghirapur, and you get another turn where they can't cast Supreme Verdict. It's a very good card. But one of the most important cards for the deck, and something that I really enjoyed today, Ginger Brute. I killed so many people with a Gingerbread Man today. It was unreal. So 1 mana, 1/1, haste. But here's the important part. Pay 1. Ginger Brute can't be blocked this turn except by creatures with haste. There are very few creatures in this format with haste currently. This creature is largely unblockable. It deals a ton of damage when you put a Ghostfire Blade, or if you ensoul it, it becomes a 5/5 unblockable creature. The added ability is that, let's say you can't get through, maybe you're getting attacked by mono red, you can sacrifice it and gain 3 life, because guess what? It's a food. So, little cool, intricate idea right there. Very nice. And let's say you need to finish off your opponent after you deal some damage. Maybe something that gives the deck a lot of reach. Cards that give this deck reach is Shrapnel Blast. So you get to deal 5 damage to an opponent. All you have to do is sacrifice an artifact. So let's say you deal 5 with Ginger Brute after ensouling it, and you deal a couple points of damage to finish off the game. You can Shrapnel Blast and get rid of it. Another card, maybe Ensoul Artifact. 5 through 8. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8 copies of Ensoul Artifact's ability. Skilled Animator. Wakes up your artifact and turns it into a 5/5 for as long as you control Skilled Animator. It's a 3 mana 1/3, so I mean it's not the best rate, but it does give you more 5/5s. Whirler Rogue gives you a little bit of reach as a one of. It's kind of a flex spot, and maybe the other cards currently in a flex spot is the Royal Saiyans. The Royal Saiyans, you can draw and discard it, just a looting ability. Target creature gets 2/0 and gains first strike and trample till end of turn, so it's kind of it gives more creatures the Stone Coil ability, where you get to push through damage, and the first strike is very relevant against this format. The ultimate, not very relevant. To talk quickly about some of the other cards that maybe are flex spots, but are pretty important to the deck. Wild Slash is cheap removal. You get rid of the cards that are in your way. Dumber Denial, perhaps the best counterspell currently in the format. It's efficient, and guess what? You get to activate Ferocious a lot because of your Ensoul artifacts, skilled animators, things like that. As far as the lands go, it's base, blue, red, aggressive creature lands. You know, you're trying to cast your creatures off these lands, so they need to come into play untapped. Maybe the cool additions are Mutavault, a 2/2 creature, and maybe Darksteel Citadel. Indestructible land, so you can make, if you Ensoul artifact on a Darksteel Citadel, indestructible 5/5. Pretty cool ability. Let's move to the sideboard quickly. You have Stubborn Denial, number 3. You have more counterspells, Metallic Rebuke, Improvise, so you can tap some of your artifacts to counter spells. I will say that a couple times today I had this in my hand, and because you're attacking with your artifacts, the Improvise ability is a little interesting, so I could see you potentially shaving on this because you have to either hold back your counter, you either have to hold back your creature from attacking, or just, you know, sometimes you get in weird situations. Mystical Dispute is excellent at fighting other blue decks. For 1 blue, you can counter any spell pretty much across the board. Most people are not going to be able to play around this. You're trying to kill them very quickly, so most of the time the game is not going late enough for them to be able to pay 3. Roast, 2 mana, deal 5 damage. It's kind of a shrapnel blast for creatures that, you know, let's say you're trying to remove a Siege Rhino, or, you know, some of these other creatures in the format with a big booty. You got Blazing Volley, you know, maybe for decks who go wide or make a lot of Thopters. Grafdigger's Cage for anything where people are trying to pull things out of the graveyards or out of their decks. Aether Sphere Harvester for the other aggressive decks, or zombies, or some of those other things that, you know, a 3/5 flying lifelinker can just get there, alright? But I will say that this is our only instance of energy in the deck, so you're not producing energy from other places. And lastly, Karn, Scion of Erza. Making a token that is as large as your artifacts. It can be a 3/3, it could be a 6/6 or a 7/7. It can be a very large token. And also just being able to have card draw against some of those mid-range to control decks. This card can be very, very good. So right now what we're going to do is I'm now going to move on to the game, the final game of the league I played today. And I'm going to let you guys enjoy this amazing tight game. If you guys have any questions about the gameplay or about the deck, feel free to make a comment. But anyways, guys, thank you so much. It has been great just chatting with you, and enjoy the video. So we started off on a mulligan. I kept an aggressive creature with a Ghostfire Blade, and I fought my opponent immediately over it. This was one of the snap decisions. This was very, very tough. I sat there and I thought about it for a very long time. We got our Ginger Brute going. Unblockable by many. We are just trying to clear the way for our creatures. But here my opponent goes, casting an untapped Hallowed Fountain. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? Oh, it's probably a Spell Queller. Oh, it was indeed a Spell Queller eating my Ginger Brute. I never thought I would ever say in a million years that a Spell Queller is eating a Ginger Brute in Pioneer. But here we are. Such is life. That Curry Obsession, I had to get rid of it. And so I figured it out. Stonecoil Serpent is an amazing card. And you're about to see some of the power of it. My opponent casts Blessed Alliance, a very, very good card. But I make a 4/4 reach, trample, protection for multicolored permanent, and my opponent is not able to get through with the Spell Queller. Makes him sacrifice the Curious Obsession, but my opponent is mounting an assault. He now has 3 creatures, and now he has 4, and he got a second Spell Queller into play. And those Mausoleum Wanderers are really going to counter any instants and sorceries for the rest of the game. But we're in a race. So you just got to push through damage. You got to try to get there. I have protection from 2 of his creatures. Oh, here he goes. Oh, he realizes he can't really block. He's dead to the Mutavault. So he attacks like that. I'm down to 9. Oh, but this Ginger Brute off the top, giving it haste. this Mutavault. I get in there. Interestingly enough, he did not eat the second Ginger Brute. With that Spell Queller, he let it resolve because I had one more card in hand. So he blocks like this. He's able to take the Stonecoil Serpent out of play. Oh my goodness, this is right down to the wire. Down to 3 life. I am dead. Oh, never mind. Found an Ensoul artifact. And he is dead. And we win the game. So close. So much fun. This was for the 4-1. This deck has some major play. And I highly encourage it for all of you, if you are looking for something to break into the format with. So, thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed. This is the deck. Feel free to ask any questions. Give it a like. And I will catch you guys sometime in the next couple days. Thank you so much. Tschüss. Later. A day.